I want y'all to notice this before we start the video. 10/17/2024. Just pay attention to this. Kevon London Grant, a.k.a. Cuz, a.k.a. Vonni, DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, a.k.a. Didi, Keith Jones, a.k.a. Flakka, Brian Lindsay, a.k.a. Brown Eyes, and Austin Houston, a.k.a. Boogie, defendants, right? It says conspiracy and use of interstate facilities resulting in death, use, carry, and discharge firearms, machine gun, and possession of such firearms in furtherance of a crime of violence resulting in death. Possession of a machine gun. Those are the first charges that were given. So that was the first superseding indictment. Well, Nash, I know you're going to hit us with the second one, right? Right. I want to jump to a year later, March 1st, 2025, to the second superseding indictment, if you will. Changed up, Durk Banks, Kevon London Grant, DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, Keith Jones, Brian Lindsay, Austin Houston, right? Second superseding indictment, conspiracy and use of interstate facilities to commit murder for hire. Then it goes stalking. They just added that one in. And death. Use, carry, and discharge firearms, machine gun, and possession of such firearms in furtherance of crimes of violence resulting in death. Possession of a machine gun, and they're going for criminal forfeiture. So that was the second superseding indictment. Well, today, 40 minutes ago, dun, 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 we got a third superseding indictment, missing 2 individuals and bringing up some shit that we didn't even see on camera, but according to the feds, they have. And Fonnie Willis just dropped it. Let's go. Right here, United States of America versus Durk Banks, DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, David Brian Lindsay, Austin Houston. Noticeably missing is OTF Vonni and Flakka. So it says third superseding indictment. You remember, we had one superseding indictment. The second superseding indictment dropped the money part in there and turned this shit into stalking. You see what I'm saying? So there's that. So it says murder in aid of racketeering, conspiracy to commit stalking, stalking resulting in death, conspiracy and use of interstate facilities to commit murder for hire resulting in death, possess, use, carry, and discharge firearms and machine gun in furtherance and during and in retaliation to a crime of violence. Then it says they're looking for criminal forfeiture. So that's going to be interesting because if you remember, Lil Pop's mama is suing Durk as well for wrongful death, which I believe everybody should whenever you're suing these rappers whenever these rappers kill somebody. I always believe, hey, nigga, y'all better sue these motherfuckers. That's why I always tell people all the time, stop saying King Von killed K.I., even though Butter got on the stand. I watched him get on the stand in Chicago and say King Von killed her. But to it, introductory allegations, at times relevant to this third superseding indictment. The racketeering enterprise. Defendant Durk Banks, also known as a.k.a. Lil Durk, Blood, Schmirk, and Lil Dude. DeAndre Dontrell Wilson, a.k.a. OTF Didi, Threat, Big Threat, and Deesky, Austin Houston, a.k.a. OTF Boogie, and Kevon Grant, a.k.a. Cuz and Vonni. And others known and unknown to the grand jury were members and associates of a criminal organization engaged in, among other things, acts and threats involving murder and attempted murder, robbery, and trafficking in controlled substances. What? What the hell? So now they doing drugs? That wasn't there before. In or around 2010, defendant Banks formed an organization called Only the Family, or OTF, which, among other things, produced and sold hip-hop music of artists primarily from Chicago, Illinois area. After the formation of OTF, a subset of OTF members and associates hereinafter the Banks enterprise engaged in acts and threats of violence at the direction of defendant Banks, including murder and attempted murder, to maintain and enhance their status in a Banks gang enterprise, and to be rewarded by defendant Banks through economic benefits, including money, lucrative music opportunities, and jewelry. See, that jewelry part wasn't there before. The music opportunities don't make sense because you ain't heard nothing new since Lil Pile got killed. The Banks gang enterprise, including its leadership, members, and associates, really constituted an enterprise as that term is defined in Title 18 United States Code Sections 1959b2 and 1961-4. That is a group of individuals associated, in fact, although not a legal entity, which engaged in and activities of which affected interstate and foreign commerce. The Banks Gang enterprise constituted an ongoing organization whose members functioned as a continuing unit for a common purpose of achieving the objectives of the enterprise, as further alleged below. Background and purpose of the Banks Gang enterprise. Defendant Banks was the leader of the Banks Gang enterprise. Defendant Wilson, Houston, and Grant, and co-conspirators 2 through 6 were members or associates of the Bank Gang enterprise. Defendant David Brian Lindsay, a.k.a. Brown Eyes, Keith Jones, a.k.a. Flakka, and conspirators 7 through 8 were individuals associated with members of the Banks Gang enterprise. Ain't that some shit? So whatever. Defendant Banks formed the Banks Gang enterprise by recruiting, among others, violent members and affiliates of the Black Disciples Gang, including Defendant Wilson, from different neighborhood blocks in or around the Chicago area. Defendant Banks and Wilson and co-conspirators 2 through 6 were members and associates or affiliates of the Black Disciples Gang. Defendant Houston was a close associate of Defendant Banks and other enterprise members who were associated with the Black Disciples Gang. Members and associates of the Banks Gang enterprise would use violence to preserve and promote Defendant Banks and the enterprise power and influence, including influence and / control of Black disciple-controlled neighborhoods in Chicago. Come on, bruh. This don't even sound right. What? You telling me in 2010, Durk had no money like he got right now, that Lil Durk was over there power tripping and was like y'all trying to say he Larry Hoover, he King David on BD. Come on, bruh, this fake as hell. The Banks Gang enterprise committed violence, including murder and attempted murder and threats to commit murder to promote the enterprise and to seek revenge against its rivals, including members of the Gangster Disciples Gang and individuals who harmed, attempted to harm, or disrespect members and associates of the Banks Gang enterprise, which doesn't make sense because OTF has GDs in it. That doesn't make any damn sense. OTF literally has like 5 GDs. So you ain't rivaling no damn GDs if you got GDs in the game. Man, I'm finna call Drew and tell him, man, put me as a witness, bro. I'm going in. Where was I at? For example, following the November 2020 killing of DB, aka King Von, who was a member of the Banks. You saying that Von was a member of the Banks Gang enterprise? You're lying. Boy, Von would have smacked the shit out of... Von would have smacked the shit out of Durk, bro. Ain't no way in hell. That's impossible. There is no way on God's green that King Von was sitting up here saying, I'm a Banks Gang member. That's a lie. Whatever. Anyways, was a member of the Banks Gang enterprise and the Black Disciples Gang and a close friend and associate of Defendant Banks. Y'all don't even know when King Von and Durk was even cool. They just became cool. Defendant Banks and other enterprise members conspired to murder those whom they perceived as responsible for DB's death, including TB, as further alleged in counts 1 through 6 below. Defendant Banks and the leadership of the Banks Gang enterprise, including Defendant Wilson and co-conspirator 5, recruited other gang members and / or affiliates to commit violence for the enterprise, including Defendant Lindsay and Jones and co-conspirator 2. Who we gonna assume is OTF on? They trying to get a conviction. Exactly. Defendant Banks funded the criminality, and violence committed by members and associates of the Banks Gang enterprise, including by facilitating the purchase of stolen cars to facilitate violent acts. They're probably gonna use lyrics for that shit. I don't believe that at all. Specifically, Defendant Banks would cause the purchase of stolen cars, which enterprise members referred to as sliders or hot cars, to avoid law enforcement detection. Members and associates of the Banks Gang enterprise would use sliders and fake license plates to commit violent acts against their opponents and rivals, which enterprises members frequently referred to as ops. That's a lie. And it's a lie because you can go to the damn killing of FBG Duck and see these cats use their own damn vehicles. That's a damn lie. They've been stealing shit in Chicago. Nigga, they steal water. The hell? That's one of the most underreported things about Chicago is that they steal cars. Anyways, enterprise violence, particularly shootings, was often referred to by enterprise members as drills or sliding. Defendant Banks also funded the criminality and violence committed by members and associates of the Banks gang enterprise, including by facilitating the purchase of firearms and flights to travel to locations to kill enterprise rivals, funding the purchase of distribution qualities of illegal drugs and rewarding violence committed for the benefit of the Banks gang enterprise. Defendant Banks funded the purchase of controlled substances for distribution in, among other places, Chicago and Georgia, by members and associates and affiliates of the Banks gang enterprise to secure the members, associates, and affiliates' loyalty and willingness to provide continued protection and to engage in violent acts against rivals of defendant Banks and the gang enterprise. So why is Lil Durk not being charged with drug distribution? Unless I missed it. What page is this? This is page 4. Let me go right up to the top real quick. Nope, murder, stalking, interstate facilities to commit murder, possess, use, carry, discharge firearms, and machine gun in furtherance of retaliation. Yeah, there's no damn drug dealing. There's no drug dealing. It's just, how y'all got that he sold drugs and bought drugs and all this shit, but he's not charged with it? Yeah, sound real shaky to me, man. So, defendant Banks provided the monetary and other assistance described above to members, associates, and affiliates of the Banks gang enterprise to secure their loyalty and their willingness to provide protection and retribution against rivals of defendant Banks and the Banks gang enterprise. Defendant Banks, Wilson, Houston, and Lindsay, and others, known and unknown to the grand jury, including various members and associates of the Banks gang enterprise, engaged in the following acts of violence and furtherance of the enterprise: the attempted murder of victim 1 in Atlanta, Georgia, on or about February 5th, 2029, by, among others, defendant Banks, DB, and co-conspirator 6, which was motivated by a dispute over the purchase of a stolen car. Oh, somebody big telling on this one. That's crazy. Let me reread that, because Vaughn wasn't dead. Vaughn didn't die in 2019. The attempted murder of victim 1 in Atlanta, Georgia, on or about February 5th, by, among other defendants, defendant Banks, DB, and co-conspirator 6, which was motivated by a dispute over the purchase of a stolen car. Specifically, members, associates, and affiliates of the Banks gang enterprise, including co-conspirator 6, confronted victim 1 about a stolen car that victim 1 had sold co-conspirator 6. Co-conspirator 6 demanded a refund. When victim 1 refused to pay, co-conspirator 6 attempted to rob him. Wait, I got that video. Hold on, bruh. I have that video. They talking about the shooting by that damn nightclub. After victim 1 resisted, members of the Banks gang enterprise, including defendant Banks and DB, produced firearms and began shooting at victim 1, striking and wounding victim 1. Oh, shit. I got that video, bro. I'm going to have to share that in the comments. The murder of victim 2, a rival gang member in Chicago, Illinois, on or about January 27, 2022, by, among others, co-conspirators 7 and 8. So they saying that Bezu didn't shoot, that Schmirk and King Von shot. Wow. Okay. Was motivated by the promise to pay in receipt of a reward from defendant Banks and members of the Banks gang enterprise following the murder of victim 2 on or about February 2nd, 2022. Co-conspirators 7 and 8 discussed obtaining payment for killing victim 2 from defendant Banks and the Banks gang enterprise. Specifically, co-conspirator 8 sent a text message to co-conspirator 7 stating, "What's up with OTF? What you mean they not paying?" In response to co-conspirator 7 responded, "We waiting. He, defendant Banks, comes up here on the 17th. On or about February 17th, 2022, co-conspirator 7 traveled to a location in or around Chicago, Illinois, where defendant Banks was recording the music video for music song 1 and being interviewed." They're talking about the bald head dudes from Philly. I can't think of their name. $1 million worth of game. They're talking about that interview. Defendant Banks bought approximately $1 million in cash to the location, which was displayed as defendant Banks was being interviewed. At the time, multiple members and associates of the Banks Gang Enterprise were present, including defendant Wilson and Jones and co-conspirators 4 and 5. Co-conspirator 7 subsequently created a social media post in which co-conspirator 7 displayed his monetary reward from the Banks Gang Enterprise and played an excerpt of defendant Banks' music song 1 about stalking and murdering a rival as depicted in the screenshot. And it say, we be sliding through their blocks they don't know we have. You already know that song. Don't respond to shit with Von. I'm like, you tripping. Go get your gun. As revenge for the killing of DB, the conspiracy to commit murder, and the attempted murder of TB in Blackshear, Georgia, on or about May 2nd, 2021, by and among others, members of the Banks Gang Enterprise, including defendants Banks and Grant, and as revenge for the killing of DB, the conspiracy to stalk and murder TB, the stalking and attempted murder of TB, and the murder of SR in Los Angeles, California, on or about August 19, 2022, by, among others, defendant Banks, Wilson, Houston, Lindsey, Grant, and Jones as co-conspirators 2 through 7. Through phone calls, texts, communication, social media posts, and musical lyrics, members and associates of the Banks Gang Enterprise, including defendant Banks, Wilson, would boast about and celebrate violence committed by members, associates, and affiliates of the Banks Gang Enterprise. And 2, taunt and disrespect rivals of defendant Banks and the Banks Gang Enterprise, including by mocking rivals who have been killed. The Banks Gang Enterprise will commit these violent and boastful acts for the purpose of, among other things, 1, preserving, protecting, and promoting the enterprise, enhancing the reputation of its members and associates, and enriching defendant Banks and the enterprise members and associates, including by commercializing the enterprise's violence in public social media, music videos, and lyrics. 2, recruiting other individuals to join the enterprise. 3, intimidating and retaliating against defendant Banks and the Banks Gang Enterprise's rivals. And 4, preserving and expanding the power and influence of the enterprise in Chicago and Atlanta, among other places. Means and methods of the enterprise. The means and methods by which defendant Banks, Wilson, and Houston and other members and associates of the Banks Gang Enterprise conducted and participated in the conduct of the affairs of the enterprise included the following. Defendant Banks will place bounties on individuals that he and other Banks Gang Enterprise members wanted to kill and / or reward members, associates, and affiliates of the Banks Gang Enterprise who were willing to commit, conspired to commit, attempted to commit, and / or committed acts and threats of violence against defendant Banks and the enterprise rivals, including members of the Gangster Disciples and those associated with DB's murder, including TB. That's Quando Rondo, Taquain Bowman, with money and other economic benefits, including placement in defendant Banks in OTF music videos, lucrative music opportunities, and jewelry. So you kill somebody, I'm gonna let you shake ass in my music video. That's what I'm hearing. You kill somebody, I'm gonna let you shake ass in my music video and put a chain on you. Because there was no money. Members and associates of the Banks Gang Enterprise committed, including through the use of sliders and hot cars, attempted to commit, conspired to commit, and threatened to commit acts involving violence, including murder and attempted murder, robbery, theft, trafficking, and controlled substances, obstruction, and attempted obstruction of justice, including witness tampering, to promote a climate of fear to preserve, protect, promote, and expand the Banks Gang Enterprise criminal operations. Oh, shit. I just pressed the wrong damn thing. Members, associates of the Blank. Okay, all right. I'm right back on top. That's perfect. I'm pretty good at this shit. Members and associates of the Bank Gang Enterprise would take steps to conceal their criminality by, among other things, using sliders and hot cars, coded language, encrypted messaging applications, and burner phones. Right. Burner phones. Got it. That makes the most sense. Members and associates of the Bank Gang Enterprise, including defendant Banks, Wilson, would consider cooperation with law enforcement snitching. Nigga, the police created the term snitching. Y'all did that shit. Will refer to witnesses and suspected government informants as snitches or rats, and would take steps to intimidate witnesses and suspected government informants and attempt to influence their testimony to prevent incriminating testimony against the enterprise and its members and associates. And that's pretty much it. So here's what you should take away from this. The feds played and are playing the long game. That's what they're doing. They're basically saying that, hey, we actually didn't have the story right the first time. We didn't have the story right the second time. But the third time, that's the charm. I am telling you guys, you don't have to believe me. Just go through the motions of what the feds are actually doing and question the mother flipping feds. Just go through that. Don't take Sadie Nash's word. But imagine if Sadie Nash came up with 3 stories. You guys all know the internet would rip me from A to Z. It'd be YouTube channels that came out of nowhere saying, hey, man, Sadie Nash is a liar. F that dude. He don't know what he's talking about. All that crap. And you know what would happen? People would be out saying, man, Sadie Nash, what happened in story 1? Well, I don't know, man. You know, I had to get the story right. All right, we'll give you the damn benefit of the doubt on the second one, right? Wrong. Y'all wouldn't have did that anyways. Don't sit up here and bullshit me. But I go, you know what? No, actually, listen, the second story I put out, bro, that second one, that was wrong. The third one, the third one I got. Man, don't be surprised if you see another name added because cats want to decide to run tell that. Bezu was going to be called to the stand according to the freaking, what's the name? Probably not. They just called him co-conspirator 6. So let me not lie. Let me not put that on him. Rest in peace, my evil twin. Just because you're a co-conspirator, that don't mean shit. But I find it funny how the state of Georgia, all the freaking footage, all of that shit, bro, how none of that works. But y'all, let me know your thoughts on this one. Breaking news, you heard it here first. The full reading of it. I know if you can, man, help a friend, HNO, help Nash out. Hit that like button, comment your thoughts on this one, and share to keep your people aware. We are 11K away from these two things giveaway. Remember, we was 100K and 50K, all that shit and everything. Well, we're 11K away now. So make sure you subscribe, comment on every video, like every video, share every video, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Sorry, I just woke up to this bullshit. Click right here, though, to see how, what we on? Big 30, got a bond. Click right here for that video or click right here for the playlist. Nah, catch you on the next one. Y'all come on back now, you hear?